Ladies and gentlemen, the North Carolina Tar Heels just got basketball Belichick.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I don't know if Isaac Shade from Locked On Tar Heels saw this one coming, but I know Kenton Gibbs and I didn't. I am Alex Donno. He is Kenton Gibbs. On this loaded episode of Locked On ACC, there is some quarterback news out there. Florida State has a quarterback competition. If their head coach is to be believed, it's not a slam dunk for Ashton Daniels. There is a competition going on. Meanwhile, I don't think there's going to be a quarterback competition at UVA because Chandler Morris, the judge told him it's time to get a real job. He will not be back. But, Kenton, starting with college hoops, this North Carolina Tar Heels basketball head coach search, one of the strangest, wackiest things. You had various elite college coaches or former college coaches like Billy Donovan linked to the job. Like for a while, we were led to believe that Dusty May might take this job. Not that you and I ever believed that. Or Arizona's Tommy Lloyd. And then completely out of left field, they are reportedly hiring former Denver Nuggets head coach. Now, he does have an NBA title, but they're reportedly hiring Mike Malone. And as soon as I saw that news, I'm thinking, wait, what college did Mike Malone coach at before? Like, what is it? Obviously, an NBA head coach formerly was fired last year, about a year ago. But Kenton, he's got no college experience. Zip, zilch, nada. And we'll get into the other reasons why this hire is suspect to me. But this is a strange route, and they're doing Belichick again because they hired former Super Bowl winner with zero college coaching experience in Bill Belichick. Now they get a former NBA champion winner with zero college coaching.
Hold on, Donald. Hold on. I think this is a great hire. I love this hire. This is one of the best hires I've ever seen. UNC knocked it out of the park, Donald. They knocked it out of the park. They couldn't have hired a better coach because you're wrong, Donald. You're wrong. I hate to have to fact check you on there, but you're wrong. Mike Malone did coach in college from the day I was born. I'm sorry, not the day I was born. The year I was born, 1995 through 2001.
Oh, he did?
So last time that he coached, and mind you, he wasn't a head coach. He was just an assistant. But,
that's why I missed that one. Okay, that's why I missed it.
But at least he has some type of coaching experience. I think that UNC should give him a 30-year contract. Let him figure it out. Give him about 3 decades. Michael, he's young, he's spry, he's chipper. He's only about 50-something. You know what I mean? He's not that
53.
old. He's not. Yeah, he's got plenty of time. Listen, give him that 20-year contract. 30 may be egregious. Yeah. Let him coach till he's 70 at your university. I think it'll be great for him. He knows how to handle and manage the college landscape. He knows how to talk to recruits. He's been out on the recruiting trail in the past 25 years or so. He's definitely done all of those things. I think this is a great hire. Now, for the ACC, this is a terrible hire. I mean, this takes down our cachet quite a bit. UNC, like them, hate them, feel however you want to feel about them, especially with a guy like me. Their basketball team is one of the preeminent brands in all of college sports, period. You cannot talk college sports without talking UNC basketball, especially amongst the revenue-generating ones. And you go out and get a coach that, again, the last time that this man was coaching in college, Britney Spears was just taken off.
Oh, yeah. Those were the days. Am I right? Hit me, baby, one more time.
Jurassic Park CGI was just giant plastic pieces at that time. Last time this man was coaching in college. The iPhone had not been invented. Twitter, what's that? You could have done better here. You could have done better. And I know some people are going to say, well, Ken, you're being a hypocrite because Gainey didn't have any head coaching experience and it's okay for him to coach. Gainey's been in college the entire time. The entire time. He knows the landscape. of college basketball. He has not. He's been steeped in it every single bit of the way. For a school like UNC to hire a guy with zero, zilch, nada head coaching experience in college and last assistant experience, Donno was a bachelor back then, unmarried, no children, no nothing in 2001.
I couldn't even get a date. In 2001, I couldn't even get a date.
Get a date, ladies and gentlemen. Couldn't even get a date. I was 6 back then, okay? No facial hair, no beard, no goatee, full head of hair, playing for the West 7 Rams. That's what I was doing last time Mike Malone coached in college. This is a terrible hire. This is a terrible hire, and they got Bill Belichick all over again by a guy with a worse record at the professional level. Shameful.
Well, what it looks like to me is not only was it a terrible hire, it was a desperation hire, right? Because transfer portal in college basketball opens tomorrow, and they wanted to have somebody in place. If enough people tell you no, you go out and you find somebody who wants to take the job. And I'm sure you could have done worse than Mike Malone. Because, again, he did coach an NBA championship team in 2023, Denver. You know, some people do give him credit for, developing Jokic, although I feel like Jokic probably would have been fine if he never met Mike Malone, right? But people do want to give him some credit for that. But an issue that I have, Kenton, is, I'll keep the Britney Spears theme alive here, he was fired in Denver for having a toxic relationship with the franchise. That was an issue. Very abrasive personality. His old school mindset makes people wonder, does that translate to college basketball these days when, despite, the executive order that was just signed, you still feel like it's going to be pretty easy for guys to transfer and leave your program if they don't like you personally? So I have a lot of questions about this one, Kenton. I know the NC State in you is very happy about this, but like you eloquently stated, this doesn't seem like a good thing for the ACC.
No, not at all. Not at all. And when our preeminent brands are good, it's better for the conference. And the reality is, I hate this hire. I really do. I get it. You struck out with the biggest and best and brightest of names. You can't tell me all of these guys, there was nothing you could do. I get it. The timing works out terribly with Billy Donovan. You go give him a blank check. Hey, Will, whatever you need, Mr. Donovan. Can I call you Mr. Donovan? Whatever you need. Come on and chop it. You tired of, they done gave you about 13 guards there with the Bulls, and one of your guards just gave up basketball to be a brickyard preacher. Okay? The boy done lost his mind. Come on to college where you don't got to worry about that type of stuff. You don't got to worry about a GM trading for players you don't want and trying to trot out 4-guard lineups. Come on to college. You will be the commander-in-chief. If you are the head basketball coach at the University of North Carolina, you are Teflon Don. You win basketball games there, you are like a deity to those people. The reverence paid to Dean, the reverence paid to Roy. Even Hubert in the beginning, the reverence that was paid to him after the Final Four appearance was like, oh, this is different. This is, you don't get that in Chicago. They don't love you like that in Chicago. No. That's what the pitch should have been. Blank check, whatever you need, come on down right now. Come on. Stop playing. We'll pay the buyout. We'll pay whatever for you to lead the Bulls. But stop playing in the NBA. And you're telling me that even if you struck out on all the top guys, you didn't go for the next level up? Trust me, I'm a habitual shot shooter at people above myself. I talk about Meg Thee Stallion all the time. She's dating a 600-700 millionaire. You understand? That's the caliber of woman I want. But you know what? If there's no Megs available, I'm going to go for something close. I'm not just who has 2 legs, a post, and different gender than me. That's not, you don't just go from, if it's not Meg, I'm going to get that. And that's a lot what this hire feels like. This hire feels like we couldn't get the top guys, so anybody with a inkling of basketball experience, come on.
Well, I want to dive a little bit deeper into the Billy Donovan factor because there's some pretty bizarre stuff being reported about that. Plus, apparently there's another reason why people are skeptical about this hire, but I don't think this matters at all. We'll talk about it. You want to keep it locked right here. We're only getting started. Kenton Gibbs from Locked On Wolfpack. I am Alex Donno from Locked On Canes on this brand new episode of Locked On ACC. Way Day is here, and if you've been thinking about upgrading your space, this is the time to do it. We're talking about some of the best deals of the year on furniture, decor, outdoor essentials, everything you need to refresh your home. During Way Day, Wayfair is offering up to 80% off with fast and free shipping on everything, making it easy to find pieces that fit your style and your budget. It's super easy, folks, to filter by style, size, and price, so you're not wasting time scrolling. Whether it's upgrading a room, adding outdoor spaces, or just finding something that ties your space together, it makes the whole process simple from start to finish. Way Day is the sale to shop the best deals in home. We're talking up to 80% off with fast and free shipping on everything. Head to wayfair.com April 25th through the 27th to shop Way Day. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thank you so much for making this episode of Locked On ACC your first listen. You know, Kenton, some people will criticize this Mike Malone hire because this is the first time since 1952 that Carolina is hiring a basketball head coach without previous North Carolina Tar Heel ties. But I think that's hogwash. To me, you get the best possible coach. It doesn't have to be a former player, doesn't have to be a former assistant. You get the best possible guy. I still don't think they did that. Now, you brought up Billy Donovan, who for, the entire process was like the top odds leader. We check FanDuel and everything. He was at the top of the odds. Mm-hmm. So reportedly, and again, we don't know for sure what's 100% legit and what's not in terms of information, but there's buzz going around that Billy Donovan might have taken the job, but he wanted to wait 5 more days to fully consider it until the NBA season was over, right? So you talk about making a desperation hire. Your top candidate wants to wait 5 more days, and you can't wait 6 extra days, I guess, from the 6th to the 12th. So you can't wait 6 extra days to get Billy Donovan, so you go out and get Mike Malone.
I am flabbergasted. I am floored. I don't even want to put on the NC State hat and make fun of these guys anymore. This legitimately makes me feel sad for – no, I don't. I'm not going to take it that far. But the gut punch that a fan of that university must feel right now, you let 6 days be the difference? Not to mention, Donno, just out of curiosity, okay? The NBA season ends 6 days from today, moment of recording, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so the transfer portal opens up tonight, and y'all thought was, we can't wait 6 days because the transfer portal is going to be open, and that's going to make this first year a wash or something like that? That was your thought? Yeah. So you turned down Billy Donovan to be your head coach. I very genuinely don't understand this. And here's the thing, right? I know the University of North Carolina notorious for doing things above board, following the rules.
Of course. Yeah.
I'm lying because I'm a liar. They have never been known for that. That has never been a thing that people are like, that university, they're very – why would you not just say, Billy, we're going to hire you. Who do you want as your GM? We will get them in now and get them to go ahead and do the work. And, they're going to be out there telling recruits, Billy Donovan's coming. He's going to be your head coach. This is what we can offer you. And then you come in and seal the deal, right? Like they work like your SDR and you're the account executive closing the deal. You coming in on the back end, hey, yeah, what the GM said was true. It's me, Billy Donovan, multiple-time national championship winning head coach here. Come on. Come on to UNC. Come on. Walk in the same arena that Jordan comes in regularly. Walk in the same arena that Psycho T played at. Walk in the same arena where we produce more NBA players. The Dean Dome is the Dean Dome. That's what you do. But instead, you go get Mike Malone. Whew, patience is a virtue, my friend, and North Carolina is about to find out why.
Oh, I can't wait to see how that works out over the next couple of years. Switching over to football, I'm a little bit surprised that Chandler Morris didn't get his 7th season because they seem to be handing those out like candy lately, right? I mean, Trinidad Chambliss. Although there have been some guys who failed. Joey Aguilar at Tennessee was not granted his 7th year. And so this is another rare court W for the NCAA. So Virginia quarterback, he was denied by a Virginia circuit court judge. Usually when you're in your home state, you get preferential treatment. I guess Virginia didn't get the memo. They denied quarterback Chandler Morris a preliminary injunction on April 2nd, which has effectively ended his bid for a 7th season of eligibility. I guess his argument was pretty weak, and they saw right through it. He failed to prove that he suffered a quote-unquote incapacitating physical or mental circumstance during the 2022 season when he was at TCU. Although he suffered a knee injury in the season opener, he was cleared to return in October and participated in 3 subsequent games. He also had insufficient medical documentation. He argued that his 2022 appearances were part of a medically prescribed mental health treatment plan, which we laughed about that. He did not have licensed psychologist paperwork or anything like that. And in the 2023 season, Morris was seeking a medical red shirt for an MCL sprain, but he appeared in 7 games that year. So there's just nothing about this held up. And Kenton, I'm sure the happiest person in Charlottesville right now is Bo Pribula, the presumed starter, because can you imagine if Chandler Morris, who was a hero there last year, was granted another year of eligibility, and Pribula would not have another portal to get into. The shadow portal could have been a thing for him, but he dodged that bullet.
And the shadow portal would have cost them a ton, because UVA football is not one of those universities that, they generally think the right palms tend to get greased and everything seems to work out the way that they wanted to in the end. UVA football ain't one of those programs. That's just who they are. So, I think that this is one of those moments where I'm actually going to have to side with the NCAA. Go get a job, man. Go do something else. Okay? And I'm not one of those guys that makes fun of people for staying too long in college if there's like a valid reason why they're doing it and they're, leveling themselves up along the way. But we're looking at a situation where you've played tons of football. What else is there for you to do at the college level? Go on to that next level, man. Go on to that next level, okay? The tape is out there on you. People know who you are. This ain't a secret. This ain't like we just need more Chandler Morris film. If we just see one more year of Chandler Morris, we'll be completely convinced of who he is. Go on and get out of there. Go on and get out of there. And at the end of the day, I don't want to see any more McCormick's from Miami. I don't want to see any more Finleys who I believe, is it TJ Finley now that's seeking his 8th or 9th team or something like that? Go on. You had your time. You did your deal. Whatever did or did not happen, it's time to move on.
Well, and now, we have an executive order that was signed by the president that is supposedly going to do that. But there's some things in theory that I like about it. There's some things I don't, right? I mean, restricting player mobility, the idea that you get the one free transfer and then any other transfer to sit out a year. I don't think you can put that genie back in the bottle after that's not been the case for the past several years. And also, this executive order does not offer antitrust protection. So I don't think it's like a foolproof Teflon way to stop that from happening. I mean, I guess the part in principle that I do appreciate about it is the idea that you get 5 years and then you got to get a real job. I can be on board with that. And then the other reason, Kenton, why I don't like the idea of restricting player mobility, like the option to transfer every year, is, again, we have no such protection against coaches leaving. So I don't, and I know you don't either. I can speak for you on that one. You don't like players to be held to that different standard.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing that I also want to make clear about the executive order thing and all that, you've got better things to do. You've got better stuff to do than worry about 18 to 24 to 25-year-olds. Now, don't get me wrong. Are there some guys that are abusing this? Absolutely. Are there some guys getting unwise counsel and thusly transferring themselves out of – because everybody loves to talk about the Chandler Morrises of the world. But for every Chandler Morris, there's 50 Kenton Gibbs of the world, right? And I don't mean suave, good-looking, bald-headed, all that. That ain't what we're talking about. What we are talking about is football players whose career didn't exactly go the way they wanted for whatever reason, right? And the reality is this. If those gentlemen are taking bad advice and transferring around and hopping to wherever, well, what happens? They then lose out on their ability to get a good education. Now, are all 50 Kenton Gibbs going to do that? Of course not. No, that's not how this is going to work. But you have to ask yourself, something is going to go wrong. Nothing in this world is 100%. Nothing in this world do we know every single time it's 100%. Donno, how old is your car? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, 3 years.
3 years. Does it crank up the exact same way every time? Does it instantly crank up the exact same fashion every time?
No.
I would assume you have a fairly reliable car. And yet, it doesn't work perfectly every time. So we can't look at NIL and players get paid and say, oh, look, see, Finley played in all these different colleges. It's bad. Oh, look, this guy did all this and that. And by the way, I'm just picking on Finley because he's played for the most teams and he plays the quarterback position, the most visible. But he ain't the only one. There's plenty of guys who transferred all over the place. And the heart of the matter that I'm getting at is I'm not going to tear down the system that tells the young men who are like me, who will have a bicep tear, who will have 2 Achilles tears, who will have ACL tears, whose meniscus will never be the same, who may walk away with some type of brain thing that, like, we don't know how bad it is until it gets bad. I'm not going to say, oh, those guys shouldn't be paid because there will be a minority of players making bad decisions that negatively impact their lives. Absolutely, that's the case. But there is no system in the world that is so foolproof, that is so, we could let monkeys run it, that nobody would get it wrong. It just doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. There's no treatment for any disease. There's no way of dieting. There's nothing in this world is 100%. And the reality is, by and large, most of these young men and women still getting their degrees. And are there some that aren't? Sure. But again, if you're telling me about Yaxel or some basketball player that made millions of dollars in college, which one do you think he would rather have, the degree or the millions? The math here is simple. You get a degree. You get a degree to get the job. You get the job to get the money. They just skipped a couple steps. Instead of getting a degree, they got the money. That's, but I'm going to leave it right there because I could go on a diatribe about this all day. But the reality of the situation is I side with the NCAA in this one, but I do not think that we should be having executive orders on this. If anything, if all of Congress wants to get together and decide, hey, we do need to do something about this, fine, sure. I mean, that's the way that this thing is supposed to work. But unilaterally, with no players at the table, by the way, and the Save College Sports deal, how many players did you see there, Donno?
Tebow was supposed to be there, but he didn't show.
Tebow didn't show, and he's a former player. So again, you and I both know it wasn't a single. There are more strands of hair on me and Donno's head than there were current NCAA athletes there. Yeah. So who's being saved? Who's being put on the chopping block to be saved? And I'm going to leave it right here. The old saying goes, if you are not at the table, you are on the table. And the reality is that executive order is doing just that. It's putting athletes on the menu.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it any better than that. When we come back, if the head coach is to be believed, can't speak today, there is a true quarterback competition in Tallahassee. You want to keep it locked right here. We're not done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On ACC. Yes, it's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient. Sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. TurboTax experts work to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book an appointment. Thank you for making Locked On ACC your first listen. And folks, if you haven't joined the Everydayer Club yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. You get exclusive ad-free versions of our episodes, exclusive Discord chat access to talk with hosts and other fans of your favorite shows. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer and find all the great benefits. And you can join the Everydayer Club for Locked On ACC, Locked On Wolfpack, Locked On Canes, all your favorite Locked On shows. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer to become an Everydayer Club member today. All right, so Kenton, Florida State recently had another spring scrimmage. And according to Logan B. Robinson, who's the founder and owner of Knoll Game Day, here's what Mike Norvell had to say about Kevin Sperry versus Ashton Daniels. He said that there's no clear leader for the starting quarterback spot. Norvell said, quote, "When you see Kevin, he's continuing to grow in the things he's being asked to do, driving the ball with more and more confidence, where it needs to go, what it needs to look like. Ashton," he said, "has come in and has done a great job learning the offense. There's still some of the finer details that he can grow from. He's done really well for the bulk of this spring ball. I've been pleased with his progression." But Mike Norvell was pretty straightforward after Florida State's second spring scrimmage that there is no clear leader for the starting quarterback spot. It's going to stretch into fall camp, and obviously that's something we'll evaluate as we continue to get closer. And I heard, for what it's worth, in that scrimmage that like the quarterbacks rallied later, but there were a lot of turnovers and it was pretty ugly early. They rallied a little bit later. But it sounds, couple things that I gleaned from this, Kenton. Ashton Daniels, despite his experience, is obviously not convincing enough to take that job. Yep. And again, I feel like if you're a Florida State fan, you're rooting for Kevin Sperry because he could be a multi-year starter for you, where Daniels is the one-year journeyman.
This is a positive for Florida State.
I agree. Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are going to look at us and say, well, wait, weren't you just saying it's a negative that Clemson has a quarterback battle? Well, quick question. Which one of these two guys has been on the roster for 3+ years?
Yeah, neither of them.
Nope. Okay. Yeah. So with that in mind, what we are looking at here is a situation where Mike Norvell is still thinking about the future. It's not just being like, hey, we got to, the word of the day for today is a word that Mike Norvell used a lot at ACC Media Days last year, desperation. He's not desperate this year, right? And that, to me, when you're making moves from desperation instead of what's best for the team long term, that's a clear sign. You're on the way out the door. You're on the way out the door. You're clinging and fighting to any hope that you can get that, oh yeah, we're still going to be around. We'll fight for another day, despite what the long-term results and effects may be. There's a team that's thinking through this thing in a very thoughtful way. Now, what I will say is concerning is the fact that there's a ton of turnovers from the quarterbacks and whatnot, because we're starting to see this become a trend with a lot of teams. And I get it. Offense is more based on timing and rhythm than defense. Defense is inherently reactive in a certain way that, like, you don't necessarily need that same type of chemistry with your guys to make things happen. But the reality of what we are seeing is these quarterbacks of the ACC, we went from being the conference of quarterbacks to now having all these quarterbacks in battles because we don't have I just going back 3 years ago or so when Tyler Van Dyke was a starter, we had at least 8 teams where we're like, hey, that quarterback, you could drop him off at most Power 5 schools, he'd be a starter. We don't have that anymore in the ACC. We do not have that anymore. And so we'll produce more storylines like this, more competitions like this, because if you don't have the guy that hey, we could take him anywhere. This young man here, he could play anywhere. You're gonna have a lot more. Well, which if we just going just to do this thing out, which just the guy am I gonna go with?
I mean, what's the best we have right now? Help me out if I'm leaving any out. Darian Mensah, who's now at Miami. Kevin Jennings, who's still at SMU.
Right.
CJ Bailey at NC State. I mean, how many am I leaving anybody obvious off that list? Because I don't think I am.
I mean, JKS is, he showed flashes.
Oh yeah, JKS and Cal. See, I knew you'd help me out with that.
Well, but that's the thing. JKS has shown flashes. He's had moments where it's like, nobody's gonna be better than this kid. Like he's going. Yeah. And then there's also moments where you're like, oh, he a freshman, huh? Yeah, he ain't played no football yet. Huh? So there's a few guys that you would think of in this conference and say like, hey, he could play Angeli before he got hurt. He's obviously coming back, and they expect him to be the same guy or near the same level he was before he got hurt. But there's a few guys in this conference. There's just not, it's not what it used to be. You know what I mean? It used to be like who doesn't have a quarterback right now? We've got May, right? We've got Leary, we've got all these dudes just everywhere. Every time you look up, oh man, this is a new guy that's supposed to be the guy. And we're kind of feeling our way through the wilderness of quarterback play in the ACC.
Yeah, well, fun show as always. Make sure you check out Kenton Gibbs at Locked On Wolfpack and follow him on X at TGIF_Kenton. Follow me at Alex Donno and check me out on Locked On Canes. And we'll talk to you again next time on another episode of Locked On ACC. We are part of the #1 Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.